What's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 5 of C&D Sports, where we give you daily updates, the boldest takes, and the best debates in all of sports. I'm Caleb Moody. That's Daniel Singh.
What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about the MLB Foreign Substance. We have updates in the NHL and NBA playoffs. But let's start with the Tennessee Titans acquiring Julio Jones. What are you thinking there?
Well, as a Titans fan, I'm ecstatic that they just traded for one of the top 3 wide receivers in football right now.
Yeah.
I can't hold back my excitement. When I found out on Sunday when it happened, I immediately started running around my house saying Titans are winning the Super Bowl. It's to the point where their offense is just not fair.
Yeah.
They have the best running back in the NFL in Derrick Henry. They now have arguably 2 of the top 5 best wide receivers in the NFL in Julio Jones and A.J. Brown.
Yep.
And Brian Tannehill knows his job. He knows that he doesn't have to throw all that often. He can just, look to the freight train in the backfield and Derrick Henry and hand him the ball. And it's just exciting. They're finally able to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs like they couldn't do in 2019 or in 2020 Super Bowl with 2019.
So you think they're poised for a deep run?
Oh yes, I think the downfall will be their defense.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of memes recently about just how powerful their offense is, but their defense is in shambles, and it's not great.
Yeah.
Their defense wasn't great last year.
Yep.
But the way I look at it is they're still going to win a lot of football games by scoring a lot, even if they give up 30 plus points every week, because they have the ability to score 40, 45 plus points every week. So very exciting in Tennessee. Julio Jones is a top end talent, and I'm glad he was able to not just because he went to the Titans, but I am glad that they were able to find a trade for him.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy in Atlanta. It wasn't a good situation for him.
You told me when this trade went down, when Atlanta said they wanted to move on.
Yeah.
Or when he wanted to move out. It didn't look like Tennessee was in the running. What do you think changed there?
I think Tennessee was always mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really saw Tennessee as being the favorite. There may have been some people.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly didn't see them. I thought, a team like the Dolphins would probably go hard. I thought even the Patriots might make a decent push for them.
Yeah.
And what shocked me is that not only did the Titans land him, but they landed him and didn't have to give up a first round pick.
Yeah.
As that was the one thing Atlanta said they wanted in return.
It was a second and a fourth, right?
It was a second and a fourth,
Yeah.
and they had to give up, I believe it was a 5th or a 6th, along with, or Atlanta gave them a 5th or a 6th round pick back. So, but yeah, it wasn't the first round pick, and you can live with not having a 2nd and a 4th round pick, in the next few years. So I was shocked that they couldn't get a first out of him. I thought someone would overpay and put a first.
No, well, that's good. Last thing, what do you think's next for Tennessee? How deep do you think they can go? Are they a legit contender? Should they be a favorite going into next season?
It's really hard to call them a favorite when you have Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the same conference as you.
Yeah.
But I certainly see a rematch of that 2019 AFC Championships. I definitely think that the AFC South is theirs. I don't really see anyone in that division putting up much of a fight now.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I thought they had it before, but now with Julio Jones, it's almost unfair at this point.
Fair enough. All right, now moving on to the MLB. Garrett Cole's a snake. What's going on there?
It's messy.
Yeah.
As I guess we should give some context here. We talked a couple weeks ago about foreign substances and the Giovanni Gallegos incident in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And people were starting to uncover baseball's dirty little secret, and that is foreign substance use on baseballs to increase movement, velocity, spin rate. So the MLB did crack down on it. They said 10-game suspensions now for anyone who is caught using a foreign substance.
Yep.
And umpires are now supposed to check 8 to 10 times a game.
Yeah.
For foreign substances, so it's not very easy to cheat anymore. I'm sure guys will still find a way, but yeah. So Garrett Cole, it dates back to 2019 that he was implicated with this stuff with the Angels staffer who has since been suspended and fired and for making his own foreign substance and distributing it to pitchers throughout the league.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole was implicated. Text was released. Whether or not that text was factual it hasn't been proven if it's from Garrett Cole, but basically saying, hey Bubba, it's Garrett. Do you have the sticky stuff for the baseballs? So
what's he using, or what's he supposed to be using? Spider tack?
Spider tack. Yeah, the Spider tack interview this week was wild. I was watching another podcast, and they were talking about it and talking about the interview where he was asked point blank, Garrett Cole, have you used Spider tack before? And his response was, quote, well, I don't know how to answer that question. Just lie. And that was the same response that this other podcast I was watching. They're like, just lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not not
it's
hard.
a clown move for sure.
You just lie, and that's what people say. You're on the record as saying you haven't used it, and I'm sure there wouldn't be as big of an investigation as there would be now.
Yeah.
And you even look at the stats, and of course, you have to take in stride, Garrett Cole without foreign substances is still going to be a well above average pitcher. Yeah. He's got great mechanics and everything. It's not just the substances just help push him over the edge.
Yep. He's not going to be nearly as dominant. His ERA's up. Everything's
that's what I'm
up.
saying. The past 2 starts, his ERA's gone up.
Yeah.
There's a couple 5-inning games in there.
Yeah.
And Josh Donaldson called him out too on it, and basically said, you see his numbers changing right after 4 minor league pitchers were suspended 10 games for this.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm curious to know whether the 10-game suspension is going to be like steroids and it's incremental. Mm-hmm. So when you get caught with steroids the first time, it's 50 games, then it's 100 games. Yep. And then I believe after that, it's a lifetime ban if you get caught a third time. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see whether they do something like that, because at the end of the day, foreign substances aren't the same way of cheating as steroids. Steroids are much more effective.
Yeah. But either way, you still have to be talented to get to where you're at.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Garrett Cole.
You still got to hit the ball, and you still got to hit the strike zone.
And I guess we can't really, with concrete evidence, we can't prove that Garrett Cole is cheating. We have to say that now. But
yes, Garrett Cole has not been proven.
No, there's no suspension or anything like that. But it's just the fact that you can't answer a simple question. Have you used Spider Tack? Just say no.
We're speculating, but I mean it's pretty clear cut.
And like I said a couple weeks ago, that Gallegos incident was just kind of the door opening to this whole thing, and we're starting to see more and more people talking about it. So it'll be interesting to see down the road if any MLBers get that 10-game suspension, because it's only been minor league players so far.
Yeah. With that, let's move on to the NBA.
Yeah.
We want to get into Kemba Walker and what's going on there, but I'd say let's hold off until our Build or Rebuild series, which will be out later next week.
Yeah, next week.
Kemba Walker and Boston are looking to split.
Yeah, they've been reported saying that they're going to go separate ways this offseason.
Whether that's a trade, whether that's a buyout, we're not sure yet.
We'll break that down a little more on that Build or Rebuild segment later this week.
So is there anything in the playoffs so far that's been catching your eye?
I mean, that game 1, Philadelphia-Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta came out and torched them in the first half. Philadelphia came back strong in the second half, came back strong in game 2. But Atlanta looks good. That catches my eye. Utah coming back from that, coming back in the fourth quarter to beat the Clippers in game 1.
Yep.
Milwaukee's win in game 3 on Thursday night.
We were looking for a sweep there, but Giannis and Chris Middleton really pulled up.
They did. Defensively, only allowing 83 points is very good against arguably the best team in the NBA right now.
Yep.
I think probably the biggest surprise is just how flat Denver has been in that other series, though.
You know what? I don't think it should be a surprise. I picked Portland to beat them, and that's how I thought of them as a team without Jamal Murray. Because once you shut Jokic down, I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is quite ready to be a second option.
No.
Nor is Aaron Gordon or anybody on that team.
No.
So I don't think it should be a surprise to see Phoenix continuing their hot play. Right now, Phoenix is poised to do what you said they would and go to the finals, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
I just thought there would be a little more fight in Denver because they're blowout losses at this point.
Yeah, but no, I don't see how Denver can poise themselves to any wins because they don't have the depth to compete, and they don't have the second or third options to help them out.
Yeah.
So I mean, they may be able to get a win because Jokic is that good, that dominant, but I'm not too sure what to look at in this Denver team as to how they can make something happen in these playoffs.
Yeah.
I think they just got to look ahead. We do have a new topic here.
New kind of segment we thought of.
We did kind of steal this.
Yeah, we got to get. No, it wasn't Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, wasn't
this? We got to give credit to Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
He did this segment, and I thought it was interesting.
Yep.
I disagreed with some of the things he was saying, or how he listed it. But we're gonna go through, and we're gonna do it for both the NBA and NHL. But we'll start in the NBA because we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
The top 10 most valuable players still in the playoffs.
Yep.
So out of the 8 teams still in the playoffs in the NBA, we each made our list of top 10 most valuable players.
Yeah.
So we'll start at 10.
Let's start with the honorable mentions. I don't know if you have any. For basketball, I have 5 guys.
Who are your 5 honorable mentions?
So I'd like to shout out Paul George. Say what you will, but he's been a solid player for the Clippers, and without him, there's not much hope.
No.
Ben Simmons, I have down there. It's tough because this group I have together, in my eyes, are so tightly packed. It's like you could argue Paul George into the top 10, in the lower tier, and same with Ben Simmons. I have James Harden because they're winning without him. That was really tough to do because you know what he can do. It's just that in terms of the value he brings, if they're winning and they're beating Milwaukee's the toughest team in the East, in my opinion. I mean, Philadelphia is there too, but I prefer Milwaukee over Philadelphia. Anyways, they're doing what they're doing without James Harden to a top 3 team in the East. It kind of takes away from how important I see him to be to that team. I have DeAndre Ayton at 12. That big 3 in Phoenix, and Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton. I think without any one of them, it kind of limits what Phoenix is going to be able to do this playoffs. And then I end off my honorable mentions with Rudy Gobert.
Okay.
Again, it's the same situation where without Rudy Gobert, Utah's not going anywhere.
All but one of those guys would be honorable mentions for me. I would have to add Chris Middleton.
Yep.
I have Chris Middleton. He'd be my 11th guy. I wanted to put him in the top 10. I just couldn't at this point.
Yeah.
He's having a fantastic playoffs, and I don't think Milwaukee is where they're at right now without him.
No.
He's really stepped up as the number 2.
That's what's tough is like all these guys, like
there's a lot of people there's a lot of good players still in, and it's hard with 8 teams.
Yep. Well, let's roll off. Who's at your 10 spot?
I have Joel Embiid at 10.
Okay.
I think Philadelphia is a deep team.
Yep.
But I think without Joel Embiid's heart and passion for winning, along with his stellar play, he was an MVP candidate this season.
Yep.
I think he's like that heart and soul of that Philly team.
Yeah.
And without him, and there was some doubt when he tore his meniscus if he'd be back. He is back. He is playing right now. He's playing very well.
Yeah.
So I have Joel Embiid at 10. There's everyone before him on my list I see is just a little more
valuable.
Philadelphia can get things done without Embiid. They can't win it all without Embiid, and that's why he's on this list.
What, 4 stars?
Well, yeah, they've got Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry's really stepped up this year. So, I'd say
they have a lot of guys to rely on in Philadelphia.
They're a deep team.
Yeah, my 10 spot, I have Devin Booker.
Okay.
Again, this list is very tightly packed for me.
Yeah.
Like there's not much separation between Devin Booker and Embiid for me. Like, you could interchange them because I view them so close to one another.
Yeah.
But for now, I have Devin Booker at 10.
Okay.
He's scoring at will, and he's really carrying the scoring load. I can't say the offensive load.
Devin Booker's been lights out.
Yeah, I have another Phoenix Sun a lot higher, who I feel is carrying the offensive load, but he's definitely carrying their scoring load.
The scoring load, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have him at 10.
Yep. Who do you have at 9?
At 9, it may ruffle some feathers, but I have Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay.
At 9. And I think it's
now,
just...
Coward didn't even have him on the list.
No, he didn't have him on the list. And I was toying with it because at first I saw Colin Coward release his list, and I thought, that's funny. You know, a guy that just won back-to-back MVPs and Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
How could you keep him off the list? And he is right. He has struggled in the past to play in the fourth quarter. That was his reasoning.
Yeah.
However, I still think if Giannis shows up in the fourth quarter, he's that much more valuable. And I think he's lower on this list for me because of how Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday have played this year.
Yep.
There's a lot more options. If you told me this last year, I probably would have had him top 5.
Yeah.
Because Middleton hadn't necessarily stepped up and they didn't have Jrue Holiday.
No.
So they have a legit big 3 there, it looks like. Whether you consider Jrue Holiday or Chris Middleton worthy of a big 3.
Yeah.
I think at this point you have to. They've
Yeah.
played so well this playoffs. But that's why I have him low. He has help now, so he's a little lower. But yeah, if he performs in the fourth quarter, it's lights out.
Okay. My 9 spot's Kyrie Irving, and it's tough because they have the best big 3, and they still have depth in Brooklyn. So Kyrie, yeah, in terms of skill, that's what's tough here is I'm looking at value, right? That's what this list is, not who's playing the best basketball necessarily. Because if Harden comes back, they don't need this much out of Kyrie.
Yeah.
So that's my argument there.
It's interesting because, I mean, I'll just say it now. I don't have Kyrie on my list.
Oh, okay.
He'd be an honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
Because I just think that there's more pieces there, and the fact that he can't really play defense, I think really diminishes him, and especially he's not the playmaker anymore. Like last year, Kyrie Irving was. If it was this last year, they didn't have James Harden.
I'm mainly giving props to what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Because if Harden's there and Kyrie isn't, I'm not entirely sure how that would look.
Yeah.
Again, Harden has significantly grown as a facilitator. And he can play defense when he wants to, which Kyrie isn't as strong at, but Kyrie doesn't turn the ball over.
He doesn't, and he does not turn the ball over. But I have a hard time picking three guys from one team in a top 10.
Yeah. Well, I don't have Harden in my
and you don't have Harden in yours, so it's the same thing. I don't have Kyrie.
Okay, fair enough. At 8.
The NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
I think Denver doesn't have the wheels. They don't have the legs to move past Phoenix right now. And that's because Jamal Murray's not there.
Yep.
I think if Jokic isn't there, then it's just not even a competition at this point. Jokic is good enough to steal a game.
If Jokic isn't there, they definitely wouldn't be beaten Portland.
No.
They really go nowhere because it's kind of like the Raptors with Kawhi.
Yeah.
The Raptors, 2019. The Raptors don't go anywhere without Kawhi.
No.
Denver doesn't go anywhere without Jokic.
No.
Jokic and the Nuggets are just tasked with playing Phoenix, who again is a very deep and well put together team right now. So I have Jokic a lot higher, but we'll get to that when we do. My pick at 8 is Joel Embiid.
Okay.
Exact same reasons as you, heart and soul. He's the best player, MVP player. Arguably the best two-way player in the NBA.
Yeah.
For what he does offensively and defensively, there's a fantastic balance, right? Because he's premier offensively, he's premier defensively, and he's bringing that into these playoffs. And without him, Philadelphia can't do much. But a team built the way they are could give Brooklyn some trouble.
Yeah.
And that's your measuring stick.
Yeah.
Is how much trouble can you give Brooklyn? And I think Philadelphia with Embiid is the team best positioned to do so.
Yeah. True.
Who do you have at 7?
7, this is where I have Devin Booker.
Okay.
And I think that because he's carrying the scoring load,
Yeah,
and the fact that Phoenix is winning because of scoring,
mm-hmm.
there is a legitimate big three there.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
Chris
it's
Paul,
real.
Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton.
Yep.
So I put Booker there. Again, there's a certain Sun that is a little higher.
Yeah.
On the list, but I have Devin Booker there because he has been lights out, and without his 3-point abilities, I think this series, both their series, are a lot. They may not get past the Lakers without him.
No. Without the big 3, like if any one of them go down,
Yeah.
I don't think they can win a series because there's so much synergy between
Yeah.
the three.
Yeah.
But between the 3, they need them all. At 7, I have Trae Young.
Okay.
Yeah, it was tough for me to decide where to put him because defense hasn't been his strongest. Like not to say it's bad, but
Yeah.
as a scorer, he's taken Atlanta and he's led Atlanta further than we expected.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to get past the Knicks.
Yeah,
Trae Young's on my list, but I wouldn't put him that low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have him there. Atlanta stole a win against Philadelphia with a full roster.
Yeah.
So goes to show how strong of a player he's been for that team. Who do you have at 6?
You have him at 13. I have him at 6. James Harden.
Okay.
And I wouldn't put him that high until I watched the game on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So they only scored 83 points. James Harden is their primary facilitator when it comes to offense.
Yeah.
I think that game 1 and game 2 were sort of anomalies.
Mm-hmm.
I expect a tighter series if James Harden isn't back. And I think last night was a wake-up call for Brooklyn to really try and get him back as soon as possible. Because they need that guy. Kevin Durant needs that guy to distribute to him. Kyrie Irving needs that guy to play off of.
That's a good point.
So last night, the fact that they could only muster 83 points and they have, 3 of the most powerful guys in the NBA.
Yeah.
That really proved to me just how valuable Harden is on the floor.
Okay, at 6, I have Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
I don't think that Utah team goes very far without him.
No.
You saw against Memphis in game 1, they lost.
Yeah.
They haven't lost since he's returned. They rung off 4 straight to Memphis, and then they've got 2 against the Clippers so far.
Yeah.
And I think they're poised to beat the Clippers and play Phoenix next round.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. I have them higher. Number 5, I have Kawhi Leonard.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay. So we both have Kawhi Leonard at 5.
I have him that high because without him, the Clippers are done. They don't get to where they are.
Paul George isn't going to carry them.
Simple. Yeah, it's simple.
And they have nothing beyond him. It's the same thing with Dallas and Luka.
Yep.
They have nothing beyond him.
Well,
The Clippers are Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. Like Paul George can't carry them, but he has been helpful to Kawhi.
And I just got the notification that Serge Ibaka is out for the rest of the playoffs, so Kawhi becomes that much more important interior playing and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Giannis Antetokounmpo is who I have at 4.
well, okay.
I have him a lot higher.
That's high.
I understand like the fourth quarter scoring and all that. But really, how far does Milwaukee go without him?
Oh, it's true. Milwaukee's not a scary team without him.
Yeah.
But he can't shoot free throws. He struggles to close out games, and I think it's the same thing to a lesser degree that we talk about Paul George. Paul George struggles to show up in big moments.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis struggles to show up and close out big moments. So
it's just, again, the only argument I feel I need is where do the Bucks go without him?
Yeah.
And they aren't here. Maybe they beat Miami because Miami was bad in round 1.
Yeah.
But they don't get anywhere close to a win against Brooklyn without Giannis.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. But again, who are we talking about down the stretch last night in their win?
Yeah.
It was Chris Middleton
Fair
and Drew
enough.
Holiday in those like the last seconds of the game.
Yeah.
Because if you put the ball in Giannis's hands and they foul him, he's missing free throws.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have him low. I'm not saying you're wrong to have him that high, but in my opinion, it's a little too high.
Fair enough, man. Who do you have at number 4?
Trae Young.
Okay.
Trae Young. You had him lower.
Just a bit, though.
Trae Young silenced one of the biggest markets in sports.
The Knicks didn't show up. Derrick Rose was their best player.
But Trae Young took it to another level.
Okay.
It was a mix of both. The Knicks did not show up strong. Julius Randle was not the Julius Randle we thought of. RJ Barrett was invisible.
Yeah.
The only one that showed up was Derrick Rose.
Yeah. It was an easy win.
It was an easy series, but Trae Young put his team on his back and told the entire NBA world that he's here.
Yeah.
And he does not care.
And credit to him, he has gotten further than Luka in the playoffs. Yeah. So there's that.
So I have Trae Young.
Again, I will say my list is very tightly packed in how I see the distance between each player in terms of their value.
And the thing I see about Trae Young is he is carrying the scoring load. Like Bogdanovich has been good. Clint Capella's not going to score.
Yeah.
He's, rebounding. John Collins has been inconsistent. It's really been, all the success has been centered behind him. There's not a solidified core around. Like, he's just so much better than everyone. It's the same thing with Luka Doncic. Doncic is just so much better than everyone around him. So that's why I have Trae Young at 4. He's just that good.
Fair enough. All right, who do you have at number 3?
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell, where's the secondary scorer behind him? Like
is true.
Jordan Clarkson's probably their next best secondary scorer. And normally if you were to tell me that Jordan Clarkson is your second best scorer, I'd say you should not be where the Utah Jazz are right now.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be this high, but they are. And it's because Donovan Mitchell is so vocal on the floor. He knows how to run everything. He knows where everyone needs to be.
Yeah.
He knows he is, a leader's leader out there.
And you want to look at that backcourt and say, oh, he has Mike Conley. Yeah, he does. But Mike Conley isn't what everybody thinks he is. No offense to Mike Conley.
No, but Mike Conley was out. Mike Conley was out in game 2 against the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
They won pretty handily.
Yep.
Donovan Mitchell was out game 1 against Memphis. They lose to a team that had to win in the play-in.
Yeah.
They were not a top 8 team in that conference. So Donovan Mitchell is the Utah Jazz team.
That's fair. Yeah, it's tough because Donovan Mitchell is the best player on a deep team.
Yeah.
So the reason why I have him lower is because the guys I have above him are the best players on bad teams, minus a couple. So the next guy I have at 3 is Nikola Jokic because Denver goes nowhere without him.
No, it's true, and we talked about that.
Same thing. I view him, well, at least he can score.
Yeah. Down
the stretch. That's where he differs from Antetokounmpo, and that's why I have him above Antetokounmpo. He doesn't play defense like him, but he pulls up and does what he needs to. They're not going to win this series. I don't think they'll win a game. But that's just because he doesn't have support. He's in the same shoes as Luka Doncic right now.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. Who do you have at 2?
Chris Paul.
Me too.
So I have Chris Paul at 2.
Who do you have at 1?
Kevin Durant.
Me too.
Kevin Durant is the best player in this playoffs.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant has made the case that he should be the best player. You could make the case that he might be overtaking LeBron now.
LeBron, it's tough to say. We have to see what he does
all time.
next.
I'm not saying all time. I'm saying right now.
No, I know right now. I'm saying you have to see what he is when he comes back healthy.
Yeah.
He did. I heard he changed his jersey number to 6.
LeBron did change his jersey number back to 6.
Maybe he should rebrand it.
Because the jersey was the problem. So, but no, going back to Chris Paul. Chris Paul is like Donovan Mitchell, like Trae Young. It's and like Kawhi Leonard, those 4 straight guys, they are, and you can even say it for Kevin Durant at 1.
Mm-hmm.
They are their team. Without them, they go nowhere.
There's this whole thing where people say Kevin Durant's rings aren't real.
No.
Golden State doesn't win
They don't.
without him.
They don't.
Cleveland was that good. They had Kyrie. They had Love to support LeBron. I think that's a stronger trio than Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
Yeah.
The year Kyrie left, well, Kyrie may not have left had they won that ring, but let's just say he still does. Okay, maybe Golden State has a shot there. But Kevin Durant is a legitimate superstar. His rings are legit.
He was the best player on those teams. It was not Steph Curry. It was Kevin Durant was the reason they won. So
yeah.
And
now, if you take out Steph, you can make the same argument they don't win.
Yeah.
But I think they have a better shot with Kevin Durant opposed to with just Steph Curry alone. And that's why he's number one. He's the best player in these playoffs.
Yeah.
He's going to continue to dominate and carry Brooklyn to where they need to go without him.
Yeah.
Kyrie and Harden can do damage, but I don't see how they beat Milwaukee and Philadelphia.
No.
Both of them.
No.
Maybe one, but not both.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul, floor general, I think he's been, you could argue him at number one. He's been that important to Phoenix. He's poised to take this team to the finals.
Yeah.
And he's doing so, being the best distributor we've seen probably since Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
And the best leader I think we've ever seen.
This is the first time Chris Paul has players that complement his game.
Yeah.
In Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin didn't. And James Harden did not. Russell Westbrook. Oh, no. He was traded for Westbrook. That's right. But yeah, he's never had guys until now that have complemented his style of play.
Yep.
And he is the best player on the floor for them. And without him, Phoenix is not where they need to be, because who's going to create shots for Devin Booker?
And the thing with the way he plays, he's so smart. He was playing injured against LA, and he was still not at the
healthy.
time he was the second best player on the court.
Yeah.
Not the first most valuable, second best player. Booker's their best player.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, Chris Paul's their most valuable because of what he does. It's like having another coach on the floor.
Yeah.
No other team has that.
Nope.
The guy's Batman.
Yeah.
He really is. Fantastic. With that, is there anything else you want to highlight, or can we move on to hockey?
Let's move on to hockey.
So playoffs. Colorado lost. Your cup winner is now out too. Yes. Caleb and I had Colorado. Caleb had Carolina. Both of my finalists are.
Who's your other finalist?
I had Colorado, Carolina.
You had Colorado,
Vegas,
Carolina. So I can get half the finals, right?
You can get a bit of clout.
Yeah.
Now Vegas is going up against Montreal, who swept Winnipeg, as we said they would, because Mark Scheifele's an idiot. That's kind of rude, but I mean, we're keeping it. Mark Scheifele, I don't have words for him and the way he's acting right now, but Vegas, Montreal.
Yeah.
What I see in Montreal is a team that plays like the Islanders, but they have talent.
Yeah.
That makes them incredibly dangerous, because the Islanders easily made it to the conference finals back-to-back years.
Yeah.
There was no match against Boston, and people were calling them the underdog. I never saw it. The way people were calling Vegas an underdog, I never saw it. No. Yes, I picked Colorado, but there's no underdog. I said it last episode. Either team can win any night. Yeah. And Vegas won 4 straight. They're the better team. Yep. They deserve that win. They're a fantastic team. I don't know how there were doubters on either side. Anyways, Vegas, Montreal. Where I see Vegas struggling is they haven't had to play with structure. No, they haven't. The Colorado Vegas series was pond hockey. They're going to Montreal. Again, Montreal's a team that can shut you down like the Islanders, but they have talent and they have Carey Price. It's going to be tougher than a lot of people are thinking. This series can go the distance. Montreal can win this series.
Montreal plays a similar style of defensive hockey that Vegas does. Vegas just has more offensive
not last
power.
Series, but
not last series, but Vegas traditionally is when you have guys like William Karlsson and you have guys like Mark Stone, and then you have defensive, like you have the defense that they have led by Shea Theodore and Alex Pietrangelo. Yep. They are a legitimate defensive team with offensive weapons like Jonathan Marchessault, like Riley Smith. Like they can beat you in a lot of ways. And even Mark Stone and William Karlsson can pull up and score as well. Yep. Whereas Montreal plays a similar style of defensive hockey with Philippe Deneau. Josh Anderson is a good defensive forward as well. Like and defensively, you're led by Shea Weber.
Mm-hmm.
So they are.
And if Shea Weber's
I like
not
to call
pulling
them
up, Jeff Petrie can.
I like to call them the free version of Vegas. Vegas plays the same style, but Vegas just has that much more skill that they can beat you.
I like the talented version of the Islanders better.
Okay.
Because they got that young speed the Islanders don't. And again, they're shutting teams down like the Islanders do. Now, Tampa and the Islanders, to me, this is pretty clear cut. I've changed my favorite because I didn't realize how good Victor Hedman was going to be these playoffs.
Yeah.
If I could redo my bracket, I would have put Tampa to win.
Yeah.
Because I thought, again, Victor Hedman still needs surgery.
Yeah.
So how he's doing this, I don't know, but he is. And the rest of the Tampa boys are showing up. I forgot. They have Steven Stamkos this year. Kucherov came back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Carolina. That's why Dougie Hamilton was so mad.
Yeah. Carolina's only hope was goaltending, but they couldn't get it.
No.
They're not like the Islanders where they can flip-flop between Sorokin and Varlamov. But it's still going to be good hockey to watch. So stay tuned. If you're not watching, now's the time to get back into it.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 great series.
Canada, support Montreal, man. They may represent us and carry us to the promised land. Who knows? That's why they play the games.
Yeah.
Now we have the same list as we did with the NBA,
where
we have a top 10 most valuable. I'll ring off my honorable mentions. I have Mark Stone at 13th. It's a tightly packed list. I wasn't quite ready to put him in there. I don't think his offense has been there. He's come up in clutch moments.
Yeah.
You can always get solid defense. I will say, and not a lot of people realize this, he's a smidge overrated defensively because of his takeaway numbers.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. As a shutdown forward, yes, he's got the takeaway numbers, but that's like his specialty. Like Patrice Bergeron's a faceoff man. Patrice is a little more rounded.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's why I have him so low.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that he's a smidge overrated. I have Marc-Andre Fleury.
At 12.
At 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough to say because Vegas was coming off a long series against Minnesota, and when they played Leonard in Game 1 against Colorado, they got rocked. I don't know if that was because Leonard was in net or because they were tired. Probably a bit of both. Leonard was cold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough with goalies in these playoffs. At this point, if you have to switch your goalie, unless you're the Islanders, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the top 3 should be goalies if we're being very technical about it, but I just don't have it like that yet. And my last player is Braden Point. I think he's laying back. He can step up if he needs to.
But he doesn't have to.
But he doesn't have to. Tampa's that good.
Yeah. When you get Kucherov and Stamkos coming back off the injured reserve for the playoffs, it's a lot of these guys that got them there don't have to be as good anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, they can kind of relax some. But again, Point's got the poise. They all have the poise. This team won the cup last year.
Yeah.
There hasn't been much turnover.
No.
They can do it again. They know what they need to do, and if they need to step up, if they need to pull up their pants, they will.
Yeah.
The Islanders are forced to be reckoned with. They're a good team, but Tampa got them last year, and I think they very well can do it again. Who do you have do you have any honorable mentions?
I guess a name that you didn't mention on there. I have Philippe Deneau as an honorable mention. I thought it was tough. I wanted to put him in. But I just look at some other aspects of Montreal. Yeah. And I think they're a bit more important.
Okay.
Judging by your reaction, I feel like you have him a lot higher than I do. Philippe Deneau would probably be he's the only honorable mention I thought of. I really wanted to put him on this list. I could make the argument for him at 10. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just think there's a lot of guys on Montreal who play a two-way game that he does.
No problem.
I think Scheifele shouting him out in his little hissy fit he had definitely helped give some attention to his name. Deneau's a great player, but
so who do you have at 10?
Matthew Barzal.
Okay, Matthew Barzal didn't make the list for me.
Someone if in terms of value, if someone needs to step up for them to have a chance to beat Tampa, Matthew Barzal is kind of their unofficial leader. He's their best player. He came up in some big moments against that Boston series to sink them in the third period in multiple games.
I actually have two guys from the Islanders who I'll get to that I deem more important right now.
So
Barzal is very important to that team, but I kept him off the list because I felt they're doing it without him. But it's kind of like the Sidney Crosby case where teams that played them, the reason why he won the Conn Smythe without being their leading scorer is you shut down Crosby and your other guys can thrive.
Yeah.
That's the only argument I can make for Barzal right now is once the attention goes towards him so your other guys can thrive.
Yeah.
At 10, it's tough with Tampa because they're so deep. Really, the only player they can't win without is Vasilevsky. But I have Steven Stamkos at 10.
Okay, he did not make my list.
It was tough for me, but his scoring's been that good.
Yeah.
Can they win without him? I think they can. They did it last year. They can do it again.
Yeah.
But he's been playing phenomenally. And if Steven Stamkos does get hurt, you have to bank on Point stepping it up, which isn't a certainty.
Yeah. No, it's true.
He can, but it doesn't mean it will happen.
Yeah.
Who do you have at 9?
Nikita Kucherov.
Okay.
And ideally, like you look at the list here, and Kucherov might be the most talented player on this, like it left in the NHL.
Kucherov currently, since McKinnon got knocked out,
and McDavid.
Sadly. Well, yeah, but
McDavid's the best player on the planet.
Okay, yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Obviously,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Kucherov is
McKinnon won, or sorry. Oh, I don't know if we want to get into that debate. I was gonna say McDavid won, McKinnon 2. Okay, McKinnon and McDavid are the top 2 because they're you can.
Okay.
Some people debate.
Okay,
that's not what we're talking about.
We're not doing that. Sorry,
that slipped out.
Today.
So you have Kucherov at 9. I agree. He is the most talented offensive player in the NHL in the playoffs right now.
It's like the same thing. It's the same argument you made for Stamkos, and when talking about Braden Point, like they've got so many offensive weapons that they made it here without Kucherov. I think he certainly makes their power play absolutely lethal. You cannot take a penalty against Tampa Bay because they will score.
Yeah.
And he's got 18 points through 2 rounds. It's just ridiculous what he's doing.
Yeah, you look at the scoring on Tampa, it's outside of Kucherov, it evens out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at 9 I have Vasilevsky.
Okay.
And this is tough ranking goaltenders on this list because I believe in terms of value, Carey Price is the most valuable goalie because if he goes down, Montreal's out. Yeah. Easily. Then Vasilevsky, he goes down and they have to go to McElhinney.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna win a series. I don't think they're gonna win against the Islanders.
Yeah.
And then if Fleury goes out, as great as Leonard is, he's cold.
Yeah.
Montreal takes out Vegas. The only team that can rotate their goalies is because they've proven to do so. The Islanders, because they have Sorokin and Varlamov, Barry Trotz, and a fantastic system. Yeah. Where they can move. It's a bunch of moving pieces. Yeah. Right? They build their team like a car. Like they manufacture that team to change parts and do what it needs to do on the fly. Yeah. That's why they're so successful with a weak roster on paper.
Yeah, it's not the strongest.
So that's why I have Vasilevsky at 9, because in terms of how he's playing, I feel like there are players playing better than him. Yeah. And it kind of strays away from value, but I had to draw a line somewhere in terms of where to rank goalies. Anyways, number 8, who do you have?
Tyler Toffoli. Tyler Toffoli has been the unofficial scoring threat on this team. I think he's making the likes of Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki a whole lot better, having a guy like that playing with them. He's got 10 points so far. Time and time again, he's come up late in games, has had clutch winners for them. I think that's what they're going to need playing Vegas. They're going to need that sort of clutch play. I'm going with Tyler Toffoli, as he's almost the unofficial leader of the forwards, and he's very much making Vancouver regret not trying to make space for him.
Yes,
Vancouver fans do not like this right now.
Oh, Vancouver didn't like losing him to begin with.
No.
At what number are we at? 8?
8. Yeah. Who do you have at 8?
I have Josh Bailey.
Okay.
which he's just been the Islanders' version of Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah. No,
Their clutch scorer. When they need a goal, he shows up, and he does so in a defensive system where guys aren't supposed to score.
Tristan Jarry knows what it's like for Josh Bailey to pull up. He's helped him out.
Yeah,
Helped him out.
He has.
Tape to tape.
Who do you have at 7?
Yeah, you're not going to like this. I got Mark Stone at 7.
Mark Stone.
I know you think of him as overrated defensively.
It's not terribly overrated. If you call him the best defensive forward in the league,
he's not. No.
That's all I'm saying. He's
not.
He's not the defensive.
He's one of them, but he's not.
Like Selke, I think he should be at the very least top 10, top 5, but I'd put him in the 4 to 10 range.
Okay.
I don't generally.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a perennial Selke winner or even a perennial Selke nominee.
Yeah.
If it's just defensive forwards, because you do have to include offense when you talk about it, but strictly defense.
I think Mark Stone has done enough offensively. I mean, you look at his plus minus, he's a +5 right now. Like his line is playing very well. And also being Vegas's not unofficial leader, their official leader. You know, he's got the C on their jersey. Yep. I think the way the team hockey that Vegas plays, I think that is just like they need someone. I think there are players that are better than Mark Stone. And, you know, judging by my list here, I have other Vegas players higher than him. Yep. But Mark Stone, I think defensively is their leader. I think he's a better two-way guy than William Karlsson. So I'm going to say, like, when it comes to two-way forwards, he's leading the forward core defensively. So yeah, I think Mark Stone, without Mark Stone, they're not where they need to be right now. And I don't think that they can stop the line that is, that power line in Colorado, which they did. So.
Yeah, shutting down the power line was really an effort on all players.
It was an effort on all fronts, but they were the ones that were called upon to do it in the tough spots.
Sure. At 7, I have his teammate William Karlsson.
Okay.
Because he's scoring better than Stone.
Okay.
I believe he's leading them in scoring. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And defensively, he's not as good as Stone because Stone's fantastic on the takeaway range, but what he does with the heart he brings, you can't measure that in stats.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And that's been the case for Vegas as long as they've existed.
Yeah,
Vegas doesn't go anywhere without him, although he may not be their best player.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why Vegas doesn't go anywhere without Fleury. Robin Leonard's a fantastic goalie. He's arguably better.
Yeah.
But it's the heart they bring that kind of changes
the
way they play. And that's why I have him so high. And I understand, like, some people may not like that, but you can't measure what he does for that team.
No, you can't.
So who do you have at 6?
Shea Weber.
Okay.
Leading the defensive core in Montreal. Montreal has won their games with playing defense first. Carey Price is standing on his head, but he's also, there's a lot of times where he's not facing as many shots as he could be if they didn't have Shea Weber and company on defense there. And again, they're going to need that leadership now that they're playing the really hard match. You know, they're not playing teams they played all year. They're going to Vegas to play, you know, the second best team in the NHL.
I'll say now, sorry. What we're going to see now is who really was the best division, because these teams have not seen each other all year.
Yeah.
So now is the time to show Vegas could flop because they got to beat up on the California teams in Arizona all season.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe the Canadian division was tougher than it seemed.
St. Louis wasn't strong either at that 4 seed.
Yeah, St. Louis was not. So now we're really going to see who had the toughest route, and that's going to poise these teams through the playoffs. And even in the finals, it's going to be the same scenario where these teams have not played each other.
Yep.
Yeah, at 6, I have Philippe Deneau.
Okay.
He has 2 points, so you're like, forward at 2 points. How are they the 6th most important player to their team?
Yeah.
His defense has been phenomenal. If they lose him, they're not going anywhere. I like the Tyler Toffoli pick. It's just I feel like someone else may be able to step up, whereas nobody on Montreal can step into what Deneau's doing.
True.
And that's why I have him at 6. At 5, who do you have?
You're probably not going to like this. I have Jonathan Marchessault. And I have Marchessault because of the way that he closed out in Colorado.
Okay.
I think without him stepping up in Game 5, Game 4 he was big too. I think Game 4 is when he had the hat trick. And this isn't really for what he did in Minnesota, and I think that it's for what he did against Colorado.
Yeah.
I think a lot of his point production has come against Colorado. And I think that's what you have in Vegas, where I like your Carlson pick. I don't have Carlson on my list, but he could very well, from series to series, Mark Stone could move up to, maybe Mark Stone moves up to the top 4.
Top 6 is really interchangeable.
It's you can put anyone
Tuck
in there.
on that list, Pacioretty on that list.
Tuck would be an important one too.
It's tough.
But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Marchessault, just because of the poise he showed against the President's Trophy winners in closing them out in 4 straight.
That's respectable. You said Barzal has been their best forward. Maybe so. Like maybe they're just the teams are giving him the most attention.
With the Islanders.
The Islanders, yeah.
Yeah.
So as Barzal's been getting shut down for the most part, because he should be scoring at a higher clip.
Yeah.
I feel like Jean-Gabriel Pageau has been their best forward, scoring wise and defensively. I had Danault ahead of him originally.
Okay.
But Pageau, if he wanted to, could play defense almost as well as Danault. But offensively, he's obviously outdoing him a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And without him, he may be the one piece the Islanders can't replace as of now.
The Islanders past 2 years have been the kings of trade deadline acquisitions. It was Pageau last year, and Palmieri is having a great series this year. So
yeah, I almost had him on the list as well. But
yeah,
it's tough with a team like that where there's so many moving parts and anybody can step into any role, it seems.
Yeah.
Because Barry Trotz's system is that fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a good team to watch and learn from if you want to watch tactical hockey. Who do you have at 4?
At 4, this is where I have my first goalie, Andrei Vasilevskiy. So I have Vasilevskiy at 4. I think because we keep praising the offense that Tampa Bay has and the defensive abilities that Tampa Bay has.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Vasilevskiy at 4 because they don't win a series with Curtis McElhinney. They can win games. Yeah. They're talented enough that they can win games with McElhinney because I think McElhinney is also a competent enough backup. But Andrei Vasilevskiy, especially against a well-oiled machine, like you keep saying in New York, they're going to need him because he's going to be pressured more than he's been pressured so far.
So
who do you have at
4? Yeah, I have Victor Hedman.
Okay.
Victor Hedman's the best defenseman in these playoffs. He's doing it injured. He's one of Tampa's best scorers, and he's putting up the most minutes on that team. It's no question to me who the best defenseman is. And along with Vasilevskiy, Hedman and Vasilevskiy may be the only players on Tampa they can't afford to lose.
No.
Individually, if they lose like Kucherov and Stamkos, okay. But if they lose one of Kucherov, Stamkos, or Point, they still have a shot.
Yeah.
They did it without Stamkos last year.
Yeah.
They're also, 18 mil over the cap?
Yeah.
So 3, who do you have?
At 3, I have Alex Pietrangelo.
Okay.
And Alex Pietrangelo is doing it on both sides of the puck. Offensively, he's got 8 points for them. He's really distributing well with 7 assists, +5 rating right now, which also speaks to
fantastic goal last night. He was playing right wing.
It's just like you look at him all around, and he is leading that defensive team. Like he is what made Shea Theodore the top pairing defenseman, like the unanimous top pairing defenseman he is today. I think he's also going to become increasingly more valuable once you get into the semifinals and the cup finals, which I think that they can get to. He needs to be there, and he needs to take that experience with St. Louis and bring that to the table. That's why I put him at 3, and just the way he's played has just been phenomenal so far.
At 3, I have who you said and who we agree is the most talented player left in these playoffs, Nikita Kucherov.
Okay.
Fantastic scorer. Maybe he doesn't have to do much on the defensive end because they have such a deep, star-studded blue line. Kucherov's just fantastic, and my Conn Smythe winner right now would be Kucherov because I don't see often the voters giving back-to-back Conn Smythe. I don't think Hedman's going to get it this year.
No.
Kucherov's just phenomenal. This is the guy that put up 130 points
in a shortened season.
Yeah. No.
Oh, his wasn't shortened.
No, it was regular season.
That's right.
But
He
was the first to do it in a long time.
Right.
And
their power play isn't what it is without Kucherov.
Oh,
so
no.
Kucherov has made their power play to the point where don't show up if you're not ready to.
Kill. Don't take penalties.
No,
not against this team. So 2, I'm excited to hear your 2 pick. I'm almost certain we have the same number 1 pick. Who do you have at 2?
Victor Hedman.
Oh, okay.
This is where I have Victor Hedman.
Okay.
And I think Victor Hedman, the fact that he's doing this while he's injured is just phenomenal. And Victor Hedman is Tampa Bay's defense. Without Victor Hedman, they're giving up a lot of goals.
Oh, for sure.
Without him.
For sure.
And I think he takes a lot of the pressure off Vasilevsky,
Yep.
Which keeps him fresh for what looks to be another cup run.
Yep.
So, Victor Hedman, I don't really think there's much you did a lot of explaining at 4 about Victor Hedman. So really, we're in agreement that he's up there. I have
for me, it was tough to pick Kucherov over him. It's just the offensive load.
Yeah.
Kucherov's producing.
Yeah.
Is phenomenal. At 2, Victor Hedman's the better player, no question. But Montreal without Shea Weber,
okay,
not happening. And that's who I have at number 2. I'm not saying he's the best defenseman or the best player in these playoffs or the second best.
Yeah.
Because my number 1 pick is a goalie.
Mm-hmm. You don't say.
But Montreal without Weber, I don't think they get anywhere near where they are. He does have support in Sherratt and Petrie, who've been fantastic, but he's a leader. He's putting up numbers. He's putting up minutes. Like, what more do you want from him?
Yeah.
Fantastic player. Fantastic what he's doing. And I hope somehow, some way Montreal gets the cup with who's my Conn Smythe winner and who I believe you have at number 1.
Yeah.
Looking at your face.
Yeah.
Carey Price.
Yeah.
How?
Carey Price is the greatest goalie in hockey right now.
Oh, he's been, but you wouldn't see it because of his regular season numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, playoff Carey is the best playoff player.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
In the NHL. He's won, 7 straight?
Yep.
He's above 930. He did so against Toronto. High octane offense Toronto.
Yep.
High octane offense Winnipeg.
Yep.
Swept Winnipeg.
Shuts them down.
What more do you want? Yeah, they were without Scheifele.
Yeah. But I mean, they still had.
They still had Kyle Connor.
They still had Nikolai Ehlers.
They had Blake Wheeler.
Yeah.
And they had that shutdown line in Cobb, Appleton, and Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg still without Scheifele. Well, okay, not without Scheifele, but they still have the deepest forward core in the NHL.
Yep.
They got swept.
And it's because Carey Price stood on his head again.
Yep.
And that'll just about wrap it up for the show here today. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like this video, subscribe down below so you don't miss any of our uploads. We've got the Build or Rebuild series going on throughout the summer. We've got some other interesting things coming out throughout the summer, so stay tuned. Comment down below who you think should be on our top 10 list, who you think shouldn't. If you have any takes on the NHL or NBA playoffs, also comment down below what you think of Julio Jones coming to Tennessee. Because again, I'm very excited. And that'll just about do it. Make sure to check the link in our descriptions below so you can find all the links to our socials where we provide you with those daily updates every morning. And yeah, that'll just about do it there. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. Peace.
A lot of bumps there.